with the intention, because he is the observer, and because he's pushing his energy into that drop, it can't not raise the frequency.
Other elements doesn't exist in an alive form without the water.
On one drop of water, you can tap into the whole universe.
One drop of water with a certain energy in a bowl of water will make all the rest of the brother and sister drops resonate with that information. And that's what happened in the body.
I remember taking the ice and eating that ice like full on. I had a massive memories came through from a life in Lemuria.
As above, so below, one drop that brings a certain kind of vibration and information in an entire river will tune and will harmonize with the rest of thousands of drops, bringing that information.
But she was saying, look at how water picks up the cinnamon and actually changes shape because of the environment.
That's why when then I cook and when you want to bring food that is alive, the rule of the water is fundamental.
It's an element that exists in other planets and in all around the universe, which is an element, a universal element, basically carrying all the information of the universe. So I was trained since very early ages to keep this information and pass it on. And the way we were passing it is through the blood, through singing, through vibration. Many years ago, I started to remember past lives. So, and this is tapping into the information of the water, tapping into the information of the blood.
Hi everybody, Misha, and before I share who I had on the chat today, I wanted to remind you to subscribe to our newsletter and subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date with news and future chats. So today, Erika Tangari, food alchemist and part of the Double Detox team, her and I had a wonderful chat with Judit Yague. Judit is a therapist on the island. I've had a session with her, beautiful energetic massage, and she really helped do some deep energetic clearing for me. Judit and I recently went on a walk and we were discussing the power of water because we were talking about our Double Detox program that Erika and I run. And then we really got deep into a conversation. I said, you know what, we should record this with Erika on board as well. And so that's exactly what we did. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation. Judith has done some wonderful work around the world with other energetic collaborators as well. And so it's really a great pleasure to have her on the chat today. So I really hope you enjoy this conversation, and remember to subscribe either to our newsletter, link below, or to our channel. Enjoy. Right. Okay, cool. So hello, beautiful ladies. How are we doing today?
Very good. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, nice. Hello, my baby. How are you?
I'm doing super. Good day. Birthday of my mom. Very good.
Yeah, nice. So Erika's in Milano at the moment, Judith. I'm here in Ibiza, and I think you are as well, right? You're in Ibiza at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm in Ibiza.
Yeah, wonderful. So how did we come about this cool little Zoom talk? Well, actually, Judith and I went on a stunning walk to a secret beach on the weekend, and we were talking as we were walking. It's one of the things I like to do. And we were talking about our program Double Detox, and what I thought we could do is kick off with each of us. Who are we and how we kind of fit into the equation. But the reason why it fits into Double Detox is because the work Erika and I are doing is similar but different to what you do, Judith. And I'm always curious as to hear how different people do things different ways, but ultimately we're really all working to raise the vibration of the planet. And that's really helping people see who they are, their love, their light, and kind of stepping into their power. And so, Erika, perhaps if you could just kick off for folks who don't know you. I obviously know you very well, but for folks who don't know you, do you just want to give a background and an introduction to who you are and how kind of you fit into the call today?
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Erika, and I am an Italian chef. And now I prefer to define myself as an alchemist because it's actually what I'm doing. I live in Ibiza now are 10 years, and I'm moving around quite a lot at the moment to activate, let's say, new community that's at the center of their intention and harmonic grow with the planet and with their soul purpose, let's call it in this way. In which way my alchemical power or understanding, because it's more an understanding, then become more powerful due to the practice. The more you practice, more you become able to manage the energy and the knowledge. So what I'm doing right now, I'm sharing with other how to understand the variation and the movement of the energy through the elements of the planet, and understand how to see them, respect them, and understand a little bit before how they are going to move. In this way, you can take care of yourself, of your family, of your community, and so you go. That's what I do. That's that's me.
Thank you, thank you. And Judith, do you want to give us, for folks who don't know you, give us a little bit of introduction as to who you are and what you get up to?
Thank you. Yes. Well, my name is Judit, and I've been like more than 26 years doing therapy. So it went from holistic massages, which I connect from the body into other levels of consciousness. I've been since I was a kid, I felt energies around me, and I was tapping into, I could see through my hands. I could actually acknowledge the information that is around the energetic field of plants, animals, or environments, houses, persons also, and I could read it. I could read through my hands. That developed into, now that I don't need my hands, I actually tap into my heart and I expand, and the information is there. Always having a big root and inhabiting my body to be strong on my energetic field. But lately also, I've been for 7-8 years now working on the planetary network, on the light grids of the planetary network, going into sacred places like the pyramids, Antarctica, UK in the stone circles, other places, with Matthias De Stefano, and helping to on the path of the I Am, which for what we actually shared is quite similar but different of the path that you are, Gail. So it's amazing to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, and it's what I'm really getting excited about is how so many energetic folks, you ladies have been in it a lot longer than I have, perhaps more from let's say an open way. I was more a closeted kind of spiritual person because I had judgments. I was working in the corporate world and I was worried what people were going to think of me. And kind of more recently, I've been, let's say, coming out, let's say. And what I've been so pleasantly surprised about is to start seeing strong humans like the three of us on the call stepping up and going, yeah, like now's the time. Now's the time. We've kind of been doing it, underground and all of that. But, more recently, the energies have really opened up. And that's certainly given me in my heart more confidence. Like I feel like my heart chakra is really opened up to say, okay, now's the time to really help educate, because in terms of the lessons and the learnings that I've done, I've been learning this energy stuff, let's say, since 2010. But if we actually rewind, I remember driving in the car with my dad at 10 years old, and he would put these tapes on by Tony Robbins, right? Now, I know Tony, now he's pretty spiritual, but back in the day, it was very sales focused, and they were talking about, mindset and all of that. But to me, I think that was one of the real special gifts that my dad gave me was listening to content, learning, and just putting yourself in an environment to kind of open up to what is out there, because there's so much that we don't know, right? And so I feel very privileged to be on a call with you wonderful ladies. And I think it's also amazing to see us all start to step out truly from a place of service and in integrity. And I like to call these types of people architects of the new earth. And I really believe that we'll be setting down those energetic kind of grids. So I'm excited. And so a little bit about me, I've kind of said a bit of the history, but Erika and I, we were sitting down in November time, and Erika always gets a lot of requests from her clients, being an alchemist. Erika, when are you going to do this, the detox, right? It was a time for detox. And Erika used to, cut a lot of vegetables and make a lot of medicinal food for people. And we were chatting, and we came to the conversation of, wow, when is the time to kind of start teaching people to do it themselves? And I know that was a big shift for Erika. It's been my purpose, certainly last year. And Judith, I know you're moving into that now as well, having just designed a workshop, because you've got so much experience. Let's go and teach people how to really get into this energetic world, right? And so with Double Detox, Erika and I sat down, and within, I don't know, babe, what was it, like 3 hours, the whole course came through, and we were like, whoa, right? Do you remember that, my love?
Yeah, I completely remember when it's also how I can flow, and it's how the water also works. It collects the right energy till the way it's open. That was exactly what you were saying a little bit. Let's go back to the water, because it's very interesting. All the imagery that come to my mind. Many times as human, we see only the movement of the water when create a big river or when it's an ocean. But actually, as the vein in our body, we can recognize just few veins, but the capillary, the distribution of this blood, of this water under our skin, it's corpuscular, it's everywhere, and then get connect to a bigger river. Let's say that as humanity right now, we are at the visible big river, this big waves that is now becoming manifest, even though in many capillary has been working under the surface for ever. So, and yes, and Double Detox came exactly for this reason, came in a flow, because it's now the moment to step up and empower the others. And this is a little bit the main thematic in my last 2 years, where I'm yes an alchemist. That means that I'm quite able to manage, understand, and alchemize. That means change the state of the elements of this planet. And right now was very strong the call inside to say, now you have to let go of this. Now you need to move in a spiritual, in your spirit. So now you have to work out of the planet, you have to work in another area, let's say, and you have to teach to all the terrestrian how to understand the 5 elements. Not to play, you're the magician, you know how to do it, but now you have to pass it. So that's the game.
Thank you. And Judith, maybe a little bit about your journey in kind of stepping into the teaching role. And I know it's a little bit new for you, although you've been doing some stuff, but it feels like there's a little bit more momentum from you now, as myself. And we'll talk about Double Detox and the water codes in a sec, but I'd love to hear about your journey of moving and stepping into that role a little bit there.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty new for me, but has been like 5 years that actually my higher self is telling me it's time. It's time. And to be honest, out of fear and out of insecurity, I was like, no, I cannot. Until this year has been so clear. It's been like, yes or yes, you're going in this way. And so I remember that day that I was walking around the forest here, like a month and a half ago or something like this. And suddenly I was like, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. And I give it up. I was like, I give you that. I don't want it. I cannot do it. And it's fear of speaking, being seen, all that kind of things, no? Anyway, so that same day, I get a call or a message from someone in Mallorca saying, hey, Judith, I've been feeling you. I would like to invite you to do a workshop here. I was like, all right, okay. Next day, one girl from Puerto Rico is like, hey, Judith, I've been feeling you. I've been called. My higher self told me to tell you, let's do a workshop in Puerto Rico. I want you to bring you in Puerto Rico. There is few people that are waiting for you here too. And like, all right. So, of course, it needs to happen. Then I sat down that same week, and exactly like you girls, 3 hours. In 3 hours, I had a workshop created.
Wow.
Only 3 hours. Like Bam. And what I'm sharing in the workshop is actually my gift, that I always have been guided to share my gift, and I didn't know how to do it because I didn't even understand. When you are born with that gift, it's like, how am I going to share? It just happens, right? So finally, thanks to the work that I did with Matthias and the knowledge that I got from him and my own knowledge from my own path, I actually understood what I'm doing. So that's what I'm going to be sharing in the retreat, which it's like 3 steps, very simple but very unique, and it's really important. And it's all about being present, inhabiting your body, and being grounded. Being present with yourself is the key of freedom. It's like you have to be here and now. Otherwise, you don't plant anything in the earth, and we are bringing a sky to earth now. There's nothing to escape anymore. And so this is the key. And then creating a very strong energetic field throughout our central channel, creating the chorus around us, which is supporting us, and you are feeling really, really supported. Then is when you can actually channel the information from your higher self, also the information from the earth, and expand everything that you are here and now. And then you can open up your extrasensorial senses. And also you tap into the information of your own waters, where you can actually start to remember. And this is what happened to me. Many years ago, I start to remember past lives. So, and this is tapping into the information of the water, tapping into the information of the blood, and the water inside you.
Wonderful. And congratulations, by the way, to all of us, like to actually take that leap. I think we all know what a challenge it is. So I'm just like, yay, us, because it's a tough one. And so just coming back to double detox and the water part, one of the things that we focus on, and I've got a bottle here. This is our Davy bottle. And this is where we store water. I'm actually quite a water snob because I get so obsessed with it, but I know the importance of it. But my journey actually with water started because I was looking into peak performance. As a sports person, I used to play water polo for South Africa, and then in my later years, really got interested into peak performance from a human standpoint. So I was like body hacking and all that sort of stuff, and water was a big part of it. And then I realized that's not really kind of where I want to be going down, and more in the more subtle and gentle route of, hey, listening to your body. And this is really where I learned a lot from Erika, is coming back into the body from a food perspective, being gentle with yourself from a food perspective, but very much the water played a part. And so one of the things we actually teach in Double Detox is Masaru Emoto. So Dr. Emoto, he did these wonderful experiments about when you look at some water and you can actually charge it, when they put these water droplets under the microscope, they saw that depending on what the intention and the energy was that was sent to whatever water had been held in the container, those crystals changed. Now, this has been proven. And so that's a wonderful observation of, confirmation scientifically, that we, as the observer, have the power to influence and to change. And when I learned that, I was like when I first heard that, it absolutely blew my mind. I was like, whoa, like we can do that with water. And then obviously part of what Emoto then talks about is how water is the majority of what is made up in your body, right? And that's why it obviously made a lot of sense for us to include the whole water piece in the Double Detox program. And so we show people how to filter their water, how to take care of it, and just small things that I guess heady people in the past, I was always like, show me the science, show me all of that. I did a lot of tests and I was like, guys, look at this, look at this, look at this. And so that's helpful to see. But I wonder if, Erika, maybe you can just kind of share your take, because you talk a lot about the 5 elements. But what is the impact from a food perspective and a body perspective from your view when we're looking at water? What would you say were the kind of main things we would be encouraged to consider right now?
Yeah, so the water part that is one of the most interesting, also for science, element. By the way, you are water in the five elements of the Chinese and Japanese medicine. That's why your interest in water it's so deep. For me, it's also interesting, but not so fixed on water as an element. But I see the water as a vehicle that connects to the other one, and is also the messenger. What does it mean? That water has a memory, as you just said. That's why in the water there is the code of our DNA. There is all our story. And now we go a little bit more specific, but our reality is a fractalic reality. What does it mean? That in each drop of water, there is the entire universe, there is the time, the space, there is everything. And if you go inside, you can keep on a spiral that go deeper and deeper and deeper, go through the universe and go even deeper. You can spaceship travel through the water, through actually everything. But the water has all the memory of your emotion on this life, on your past life, and the story of the entire existing everything. So everything is written in code in a drop of water. That's something quite interesting. Also, because in our body, once we acknowledge the presence of the water, and once we decide consciously to go and clean this water, that's what we do during the double detox, through different 3 protocol, each time on a deeper level, we go consciously to move that water, remove the ancient old stuck emotion. That sometimes emotion is energy in movement, and they get stuck in a corner, like in a corner of your house where the humidity creates that zone of mold. And what we are doing, sometimes they do it with salt. Why they put salt? To purifying a room, because salt work for osmosis, so attract the water, stagnant water with old message that is staying there and keeping stuck energetically. Energetically, it means that there is a code, a vibration that is keeping that area in that vibration. But if you want to refresh, because now your vibration, it moves from pain to joy, let's go and move that vibration. So by moving the energy, by moving the stuckness, the information of the water, we can recodify and we can give freedom to the entire body and to the entire level of the body, not only the physical one, the emotional one, the etheric one, because again, through the drop of blood or water, we connect through all the existence, even the one that our 5 senses that are just a limitation, is a length, is a kind of length limited to the amount of truth that our brain can support without going crazy.
Yeah, sure.
But much more sense, because it's not that we see everything that is visible. There are bats or there are cats that see things that we don't see. Doesn't mean that doesn't exist. It's just we don't see them. And through the water, we can reach corner that we even didn't imagine. It's the vehicle to reach everything, everywhere, always. That's what we use, and now we use it in the double detox.
Yeah, so the process, by the way, that Erika is referring to in double detox, we actually, through the protocols that Erika uses, you actually go down to the cellular level and you clean and cleanse the cell, the water, through the protocols that Erika is mentioning, which is mind-blowing. What is also mind-blowing, Judith, you were talking about how the water codes were kind of carried. We didn't have books. These thousands of lifetimes that you obviously have clear memory of. And when we were walking on Saturday, I was like, but how did you like transfer the information? You're like walking around with these big crystals, and you were like, no, through our blood. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. So maybe you could just share a little bit more about that thread.
Yeah, sure. So basically, when I started to remember, it was a life. Well, I remember other lives, but this thing in this life in particular was happening on the Nile River before Egypt. It was a colony descendant of Atlanteans, and it was called Kem. And I start to remember a life there, thanks to Matthias, because going through the trips with Matthias, we were tapping into that information. So that helped me to awaken that vibration that it was inside and throughout emotions that is very it's super clear what Erika said.
Yeah.
Throughout the emotions, I start to remember that life. It took me 4 years until I remember the whole life, but I have a very clear understanding now of what happened there and what happened to me, at least. And one thing that I remember, and also Matthias helped me to understand this, is that the blood the water carries the memory. And one of the things that we were doing there as priests and priestesses were singing into the water, because there was no script still, like there was no writing. So the priests and priestesses were the ones who were transmitting the information through crystals, like the granite in the pyramid rocks and on the rocks, but also on bottles of crystal or bowls of crystal. Crystals, no water.
Okay.
Where by singing and vibrating, we were planting this information into there. And one of the things that I remembered, being 7 years old in that life, I went through an activation or an initiation when I went inside the Sphinx, and with its different rituals there, it was a lot of water around also on jars. And in that moment, I had to promise that anything that will happen to me, or if we are attacked in the place that we are, or whatever happens, I have to be safe, because I carry the information, not because the person that I am, if not the information that I carry in my bloodline. So I was trained since very early ages to keep this information and pass it on. And the way we were passing it is through the blood, through singing, through vibration. Yeah. And one thing that also came into my mind when Erika was talking, it's very interesting that actually on one drop of water you can tap into the whole universe, when actually for what I heard, I didn't get this information clear, but in me, but what I heard from others is that actually throughout asteroid is how Earth got water. So the water is universal. The water it's an element that exists in other planets and in all around the universe, which is an element, a universal element, basically carrying all the information of the universe. So it was impressive, yeah.
Erika, what's your view on water being universal and coming from off planet as such?
So now we go a little bit woo, but it's okay.
We're all out of the closet now. It's okay.
So water, if anybody can go and watch and read the 41 anomalies, but more than reading it, because you have to be have a little bit of a scientific mind, but just seeing the experiment, you just start to freak out, because the water acts like an alien substance. So for example, when you cool it down or you warm it down, when you're at 4 degrees, for example, you start to cool it down, or you start to stretch it, so you start to give energy. You imagine that when it's cooling down, we know that the water expands, and when it's warming up, the water in theory has to shrink. At 4 degrees, no, it is a specific degrees that is actually probably the temperature in which the water find home when came to the planet, because it was different temperature. In that temperature, it start to take space, so take life. They start to create space, like in a structural way, to start to do something, become alive, the water at 4 degrees, if you are warming it up or if you are cooling it down. And this is for the scientific world, is like, what? No, you have to go in one direction or another direction. You cannot do everything. You cannot have a sense of choice. And she does this kind of freaky things in 41 different ways. So a scientist create a law, and the water says, I do what I want. So the water is actually, and as we perceive it as a water, because we are in a world that is three-dimensional. So we perceive it in a way that where we see it as a substance, but is something a little bit more spiritual, also something that we can even not understand. When I had the reading, and as been said, you are here to alchemize and clean the blood. That means that you are here to clean the water. I start to understand that the water is a vehicle, literally a spaceship, that has been used from the source, from the original spirit, breath, light, or everybody can give the shape that his brain need to just have a shadow of the astonishing presence, that start to use the water as a vehicle to move around the space. If we understand the other elements, I mean, the other elements is the soil, the earth, or the stone, so the metal as an energy, or even the wood. If you take away from all of these elements the element of water, they are not in motion. A soil without the presence of water, corpuscularly, it's dead soil, is sand. Even a stone with absence of water, that water is a composition of two molecules, so even the stone become sand that lose that compact. So everything without the wood without water become dry and then die, and then so the water, well, it's in each other element. Other elements doesn't exist in an alive form without the water.
Yeah, magic.
And that's why when then I cook, and when you want to bring food that is alive, the rule of the water is fundamental. Doesn't mean that the dry food is not smart, because dry food can survive for months if well dried in a shell, because life is not there, and when life is there, that other life want to consume it, bacteria, etc. So, but if you know how to use the water, moving it out and in from element, and when you introduce that water has to be aligned with the source, not aligned with other kind of energy. It has to be purifying water. Then food and nourishment align you with the source instead of breaking you apart. That's how I use the water in what I prepare and what I cook, because it's a message, it's a whisper message of the original source. That's why when you eat my food, when you eat what I prepare and what I serve, you tendency remember, because it's bringing in water that is coherent and free with the old memory. And so what is happening, that you go in a high state of perception, because your water and water vibrate. One drop of water in a one drop of water with a certain energy in a bowl of water will make all the rest of the brother and sister drops resonate with that information. And that's what happens in the body when you introduce a water that is a water of memory, of the origin. Water as an internal movement, as Victor Schauberger study how the water moves, and he stay to observe and say, whoa, it's so that water has an attitude, as a way of moving. Let's say that as a dance, that is his own footprint, his own mark. The way we are conducting the water in a rectangular way, in tube, we are abusing the origin of water. It's like when I say I don't want to be put in a box, it's putting the creativity in a square box that doesn't allow the expression of the emotion, doesn't allow the energy to be expressed. But we are understanding that, and we are bowing down to the intelligence of the planet, because all of these are code, are very high technology. That we haven't been able to observe before taking action. But now we are actually seeing it, that, whoa, if a river that has been left by itself stay and moves and brings water and doesn't disrupt what is around. But as soon as we put a wall and we decide how to move this river, the river disrupt and destroy everything, because we are not allowing the energy of the water to express itself. So maybe it's better to surf with the waves instead of going versus the waves. So we are now getting there. we are like children, no, as a humanity, even if we are engineer of a higher level, but it's all here. If we don't connect, as Judith was saying, if we don't connect and we don't allow the reception of the information that is already there, we become just crazy scientists that destroy the world that they have around just to experiment an idea.
Yeah, sure. So Judith, I saw you take some fancy things out of your drawer there.
Yes, I completely forgot actually, and I didn't tell you the other day as we were walking, but I want to explain many years ago. There is a guy called Kai, which also is a channeler for many interdimensional beings, and was guided to go to Antarctica and to Pole North and to, I think, I cannot be sure about that, but I think it's in Lake Titicaca or one of the lakes, but in the middle of the planet, and was guided actually to take some water from Antarctica and take some water from North Pole, actually from Iceland. And then from that lake, that I will confirm it later. I don't want to,
yeah.
you know, but basically I have the waters here. And what happened is that as he was guided to do that, he started to share that water. And this water comes like from a network of people that wanted to have these bottles. This is the Antarctica one. This is called Trina water, which is a mix of these three that I say, and this is the North Pole one.
Wow.
So these waters are like, it's a network of people that has this water, and everywhere that they go, they put some drops, and and there is codes also. It needs to be numbers. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Antarctica one is 12. It needs to be 12 drops every time that you put it. And as Erika said, because this water carries all the information from Antarctica, that is the most pure place in the planet. As you are putting this water into around the planet, you're helping to purify the water. But not also that, we are bringing the knowledge that the Bible, the library that is Antarctica, because Antarctica is a library, same as the Pole North. We put this information into all the planet, all the water. So people are doing that, you know. It's like, and as you were saying, Erika, about cleaning our waters, I immediately, as a fractal, I connected to the earth. It's like, oh my God, helping us and cleaning our waters inside, we will help the earth to clean the waters, because everything is a reflection. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Judith, I wonder why, I can take a guess, but Erika's got a wry smile on her face as you're talking about the waters that you carry, because we kind of do the same. We're like water dorks. And Erika was recently in Egypt, and she brought some water back from the Nile. And then last year, when we were supposed to meet up with you guys in Glastonbury, we actually took water from Chalice Well. And so that's also such a very curious thing, is kind of just the idea, and it all makes sense, but I wonder if either of you could help me understand, why is it that a drop from Chalice Well, Egypt, Antarctica, wherever, and it's put in Esbrol in Ibiza, for example, why is it that it raises the vibration? Either of you can say. I really don't mind, but who fancies it? Or actually, let's have.
I was actually waiting for Erika to talk, but I can go also. I don't mind.
Okay, go ahead, Judith. Go ahead, and then Erika, I'd love to hear your answer as well. But go ahead.
Okay. My understanding, which I never got told, is only from my own knowledge or wisdom. I believe that the water carries crystals inside. It's like little crystals that create, like crystals and molecules which obviously is the molecules are there because it's the water, but for me it carries like these minerals, these crystals, that every crystal carries information too. So one thing is to change the molecule of the water, which that's what we do when we go and then we put 12 drops into that water. We change the molecule of that water. But how the information is transmitting, my own belief is that it's through micro minerals that the water has, and that the information is carried from there, which don't take me for serious because I don't know for certain. I never read that or anything, but that's my own intuition or my own wisdom or knowledge that I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, it's interesting to speak about the trace mineral because for sure they have a role. What it come for me as an answer to this point is that we are now facing a double reality in our scientific world. That is the englobation, the inclusion of the fact that our reality is not only corpuscular, where we can name the trace element, that in this case, in the case of the element, in the case of the water, for example, are a sort of the genes of our DNA. Are the littlest piece or the quantum, as someone else want to define. So are the little piece that that give to that specific element the quality or the characteristics. So it differentiates something from a piece of stone or a piece of wood. So it's the quality of the trace element and the combination of them. But going back to the fact that we are not only living in a corpuscular reality, but we are living also in a vibratory reality. So waves are actually as true as the corpuscular reality. We are noticing that in an environment where you have different diapason vibrating or different instrument, let's say 40 instruments that they're playing, and they can be all on a different sound or on a different vibration. At a certain moment, what will happen to this instrument? They will accord or they will tune to an harmonious wave. That's the demonstration that one element into 1,000 is able, through the wave motion, through the not the corpuscular reality, because if we just watch the corpuscular, the body, corpusculus, so it's from Latin, it means the body. If that instrument has a body and the other instrument has a body and they are not touching, it's impossible they are tuning on the same note. But it's actually now more than demonstrated that is what it happened. Yes. So by the fact that we are all connected in this net, in this field, through waves, then we can have also, thanks to the fact that we can think analogically, as above, so below, one drop that brings a certain kind of vibration and information in an entire river will tune and will harmonize with the rest of thousands of drops, bringing that information. When we speak about information is vibratory. When that information, that intelligence become strong enough as an idea or a vibration, as a sound, then can manifest as a solid corpus, as a body in this dimension.
Beautiful. Yeah, nice. Thank you both. That's wonderful. And my take on it is, as you said, Erika, you mentioned there's sympathetic resonance, right? So we're all connected. The scientists, from a scientific perspective, they've proven this. You tickle one proton and the other proton moves because we're connected in the field through waves. So I think that has quite obvious, reason to then upgrade the water or raise that frequency of the water, if you like. And I think the other interesting thing to consider and add into that equation is intention. And so, Judith, you spoke to Kai. You said, you spoke about Kai, and he had this inside him, this willing to go. I need to go and do this, and with the intention, because he is the observer, and because he's pushing his energy into that drop. It can't not raise the frequency. And so it's kind of like when a high vibrational person, when a high frequency person walks into a room, you can feel it. In the same way as conversely, when there's someone there's no judgment, there's no good or bad, it just is. But when someone, perhaps this is more of a notable example, people are like, yes, she was always bringing me down with her bad mood. It's the same thing. But then there's contagious people as well who are like, wow, I'm always happy around Erika or Judit or Mesh because they vibe so high. And so I think with Kai's intention, with your intention, Judit, wherever you put your drops, and Erika and I, we've intentionally collected water, and we have been actually at some land initiations here in Ibiza for friends who we got invited to, and we gave some water, and we were like, yeah, this is special water, and the intention is, these guys they bought a place in San Miguel, and we were like, you guys are keepers of the land, and so have this, these drops of water to ensure that the vibration and the integrity of this land remains high, because all too often, and this is what we've seen so much on the planet, right? It's just been so much abuse of land. And so those are interesting kind of things we've done with our water. Do you have any other cool stories, Judith, of what you've done with water other than the usual drinking and kind of washing and all that sort of stuff?
About the water? Let me think about this. Well, with Matthias, we went to Antarctica and we did a big activation there on the ice. So we arrived there where it was obviously summer there. So where we arrived was no ice, and we had to walk an hour more or less to find the ice. So it was really to find the ice, sing with the ice, vibrate with the ice, to take, even though I remember actually, I remember taking the ice and eating that ice, like full on.
Yeah.
And the day I had a massive memories came through from a life in Lemuria, or Mu, what is called, yeah. So yeah, that's like, if you really want to remember, vibrate your water, and is what Erika says, is like, it's true, it's true vibration. We are vibration, and if you, like, the ways that we were healing in that life that I remember, was through singing into the person. And now I understand by hearing Erika that what we were doing there was just changing the molecule of the water, and to change the information that the crystals or the minerals of that water carry throughout vibration. So vibration is really important here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So what a cool story. I can just imagine you like eating ice in Antarctica. Everyone's like, what's going on? One of the cool things that I've actually seen Erika do, because we started on this journey of water as soon as we met, we were like, water, wow. And Erika actually showed me how water can change states in the strangest of ways. So these are one of the 41 anomalies. And my love, if I make stuff up, just please keep me honest, okay? But this is what I saw. She took a plate and she took cinnamon, okay? Canela, amor, see? On a plate. And she then took one water drop and she put it on the cinnamon, right? And what was interesting, the water drop, it wasn't enough to break the spice as such. And then what she did is she started to roll the drop around. And as this drop started to move, the little cinnamon bits started to build around the drop. And so all of a sudden you had this drop of water that looked almost like liquid mercury, like rolling around, obviously not the color of mercury, but like brown mercury, if you like. But she was saying, look at how water picks up the cinnamon and actually changes shape because of the environment. And that's like, that is nuts. That's wild. That's an anomaly for me. And I was like, whoa, like water can do this. This is crazy. Whereas, I mean, I don't know the other elements as well as, but I feel like that's, as an anomaly, is that's a cool story that I have about water, which I was just like, that absolutely blew me away. Erika, did I say that in an honest fashion, or did I mess?
Yeah, that was perfect. Is actually the third and the fourth anomalies that are critical point and surface tension that are critically high in water. So they move like a body. That was when, meanwhile, Judith was speaking. That came through very interesting about the speaking to the water. And is, I think, very much part of also my mission in this planet, and mainly is a part of the mission of humans in this moment of the planet, because it's, as we are part of this intelligence, planetary intelligence, even though sometimes our egoic reality make us think as something apart, but we are actually neurons of this planetary intelligence, and as good cell we move making the life possible and harmonizing for an expansion. And when we move as a tumoral, or let's say that anyway is needed, because even a cancerogen being is needed to show something else. So it's not good or bad,
Yeah.
it's not gray, or it's like what it is. But in general, we are here to reactivate that potential that has been frozen, let's say, to use the ice paradox, and is inside. And somehow, when we put our intention, so to connect what you, Michelle, were saying and what Judith was saying, that we are living in a sort of triangulation with spirit, where we arrive on a dormant molecule of spirit, and we are here to whisper or reactivate or just put our intention, or just watching sometimes, just put our energy, because in our DNA we have the molecule of God. So as above, so below, because we enter in resonance, we can help that water to resonate with us. And when we do it for a third person, because maybe it's in a healing moment, it's sitting there as him and spirit. So it's always what is happening. And then we disappear, because then the connection is made. And then from a 3, they become a 2, and they become a 1. So it's a game of numbers. And as a therapist, as a facilitator, we sit in 3, we let the 2, and we become 1. So that's a little bit the game that we keep on seeing, and we are actually doing as yeah.
Yeah, I want to add something about the Trinity, actually, because the water, also I think other elements, but the water mostly you can see it clear, the sacred Trinity, right? It's like it can evaporate, it can become liquid, and then evaporates is the spirit, like we can put it like this. When it becomes water, it's kind of the soul, which actually I connect to something that you said, Mish, that about the drop is like water is our master. We really need to become water, right? It's like to adapt to every situation. That's the mastery, right? Anyway, so I wanted to put a point on that. And then coming back to the sacred Trinity, and then it becomes ice, which is the body, the physical body, the 3D dimension. So water really carries the whole information of the whole universe, and its mastery is our master.
Yeah, wonderful. This is so fascinating, because this, for me, being in the past very interested in the kind of the mind, the science, the peak performance side of things, when I found out that our intention, the quantum physicness of it, the observer, the power that we have, my first experience, it took me away, it blew me away, because I was like, whoa, like, do you understand what that means? And then I sat there and I was like, okay, so I can actually create whatever it is that I want, because Schrodinger's cat, like, this is the quantum physics, the famous example, is the cat in the box dead or alive? Well, it depends on how the observer views it, because ultimately when the observer views the cat, those particles are actually going to turn into waves, and as Erika was explaining earlier, that's when something actually is created. That's how we are creators. And that's how, with our thoughts and our intentions, kind of we raise the vibration, and our thoughts create our reality. Now, what was interesting is that in Double Detox, what I did was I did a really cool video, and I had a TDS meter, which is a total dissolved solubles meter. And it's a little meter that you put in the water. And so I went to the shops and I bought like 6 different bottled water. And I did this little experiment, and I took our water. We've got a water like filter, just a glass thing. It's nothing kind of fancy, just a glass thing with a tap. And then inside there, we've got shungite. And then from there, what we do is we put it into this water bottle, and then we do other couple of cool things just to restructure it. And what was interesting is when I measured the water, okay, the bottled water, there was one on the island, which, shout out to Bezoya water, is 20 dissolved soluble. So it came out as 20. So what does that mean, by the way? So this TDS meter, this total dissolved solubles meter, it gives you a reading, and you want to be drinking water under 150. Okay, that's kind of a good level. We get our water from San Rafael on the island, and that's usually around 100, between 80 and 100, so that's cool. And on this particular day, when I measured the waters, so I measured San Rafael water, and then I measured water that came out of San Rafael through the shungite into these bottles and then sat next to the Somavedic, which is a device we use to restructure the water in a certain way. It actually reduced the TDS, the total dissolved soluble. So when I measured the water that came straight out from the shungite, okay, it was 100. So we know San Rafael water, good to drink. But then when I measured from here, and all we do is we just basically open the tap, we put it in this bottle, and we put it next to the Somavedic, and then we drink it. It went from 100 to 85. So it lost 15 total dissolved solubles. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, and that are the trace elements, that corpusculo that you were defined, because they really went into order. They reorganized themselves.
Yeah. And so, you know, again, we've got, so you got the Somavedic who does that, but then you've also got the, you know, the flower of life is here. Then we've got some Sanskrit on the back, and then the Om here. And then, you know, you can do it with various things. A copper bottle is super helpful to restructure and kind of bring the vibes up of the water. I've got another bottle, and I've got little notes here, you know, that I energize my water with. And that's, again, something we teach people in the Double Detox program, is send and bless your water, bless your food. Your food holds those water molecules. And back to Emoto, if we are sending good vibe energy, we're going to raise the vibration. And so we are consuming that. We raise our whole body vibration. And because everything is connected, our high vibration then goes out into the field. And that's how we are doing the job to raise the vibration of the planet. So that's why I get so excited about the work that we're doing. You, Judith, that you know, I know that you're moving into the teaching space. But yeah, just really encouraging people to, at the very least, look at their water, because when I measured it in London with the same TDS meter, North London came out at 315, so 315, so nearly double of where it should be, or over double actually. And interestingly, Evian bottled water came out at 300 when I measured it. So Evian is a water that I don't drink. And there were a couple of others. Join the Double Detox program and you can have the full scoop. But again, or just get a TDS meter. And I think this is really where I like to start seeing people move toward. And this is, again, back to the theme of us, each of us stepping into our guide role, is we're going to share some stuff, but go and teach it. Go and do it and experience it and see for yourself how the changes impact your life. And so, you know, specific to water, every guest that comes here that drinks out of these bottles, because of our process that we follow, people are like, guys, your water's amazing, you know. And we've actually had guests come here that they've had a bit of a rough time, and they remember that one lady from Turkey. She arrived and she was like, oh my gosh, she's drinking like literally, like she had 2 liters within an hour. And we were like, wow, babe, are you okay? Like, she's like, yeah, I feel like I haven't drunk in ages. We're like, clearly not. So yeah, water, super, super important. Anything else you ladies wanted to add? Because I'm just noticing we're kind of knocking on around about the hour mark here. So just wanted to open the space and perhaps anything else that you wanted to share about water, the water codes, that comes to mind or lands with you, ladies?
Well, I can speak a lot about water, but it's understanding in which direction we want to go. Because meanwhile, we were speaking, a lot was coming also in the technology of the planet, how the water is moved, and how actually everything works. Because you speak about the copper, and the copper has been used a lot as a metal to build technology, to transmit the energy. And then it come again the intention. There are these accelerator, this sort of spiral made in copper that are able to accumulate energy from the air. By the way, in the air there is dispersed some water. So what is picking up on the water that is dispersed in the oxygen. But if we watch the elements, we see how they are adaptation of technology to move the water, so to receive energy. Now it's famous that if you plug some electrode on a tree, you actually feel the tree speaking, etc. But if we go a little bit deeper, we understand that the lymph, the water in the tree, is moving through one of the other anomalies, the corpuscularity, because a tree goes from big branch to little tiny, and so this kind of conic structure makes the waves of the water moving in a spiral way that gets stretched, that give intensity, that give emotion, energy, that give an emotion inside and create an electrostatic, so a movement of energy, a process. So that's what happened with the wood. So that's the technology of the wood. Then there is the technology of the fire that brings an expansion, a force expansion in water for because the temperature goes very high, and so create a dispersion, so create an explosion. A ball of water with high temperature is able to make explode this water. We go to the earth again, it's able to earth. So there are so many characteristics that we can find, and the way the technology work with it, with the water, I find it very fascinating. And for me, it's important to start to watch the water, watch at how she moves, how she works, how she acts, to understand who we are and how to be human on this planet. Because the water is the master, it has the information, but not only at a spiritual level, but also in a very practical, pragmatic way. If you observe how water moves, then you can understand how do you want to move.
So what do you mean by that, Erika? How water moves and how do you want to move? Can you go a bit deeper into that?
Yeah, understanding the direction water moves, make you understand that you can move in that direction. Or if you need to move on the opposite side, understand how to make it happen, like a trout or a salmon in the river. They don't move. They allow the water to pass through, and they alchemize the process. They don't move all the time to stay stable. They stay, so they alchemize. They go in a chemical. They open all the pores to allow the cell to stay stable. Meanwhile, the river is passing by. So if you just observe chemically, physically, scientifically, how you have, or the tree that we were describing, in its deep root, stable trunk, straight, and then expand arm and heart to make the water work through the tree. So if you just observe the nature that surrounds you, you have the instruction of how to remember who you are, what to be, how you work, because before you're learning and you're understanding, more funny becomes this life,
Yes, absolutely right.
And so it's everywhere around. It's everywhere around, because water, that's why they are trying to make water disappear. Because if you don't have anymore the master in front of you, you get even lost. That's why they try to control and disappear the water. But the water is working under, and it's coming back because the technology is there. But that's why they control the water. Because how you can stop this master that is everywhere in this planet? They try to control it. They try to make it disappear. Because as soon as you sit in front of a river, as soon as you sit in front of a wave, as soon as you see a tree or the intelligence, the water, the movement of the water, you are learning.
Yeah.
And if you stay long enough, and if you breathe, and if you are present, as Judy was saying before, in the present moment, the teaching that comes only by observing a water drinking or a seeds in a jar drinking from the water, you are the scientist of the scientists in this planet, because it's all there. And by simulating and copying what is happening all around you, like the biggest teaching that I received, and I think that has been the beginning of my journey as an alchemist, it happened in the kitchen of my grandmother when I saw her like a japamala counting and cleaning the beans one by one, the beans with the eyes or the brown one with the little white eyes. She was, and I was asking, what are you doing? I'm separating from the stones. So first of all, she was studying the elements. I'm separating the stone, the sand from the beans, that is a seed. Then she was putting in the water and she was saying, the one that float, that are not accepting the water in, the life force in them is dead. So the 3 or 4 that were not sinking, so not absorbing, not allowing the water in, were eliminated because there were not source anymore in it. And then she allowed them to reactivate from a dry state to an alive state. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, that moment, I was like, whoa, like, grandma, who are you? Like, you are a magician. From that moment, I think that something in me cracked. And then my mom came and said, hey, Erika, you know that we can even make a tree from that. And then when the process of sprouting, and then from that little things that was dry, that was not even heavy enough to stay in my hand, we had a 15, 16 centimeter plant. I was like, from where all this stuff come from? The water? Like, from the water, this tissue, this three-dimensionality can come from.
And I see Judith laughing there because we were talking about trees and rooting and like very similar stuff, my love, exactly the same on Saturday, weren't we? We were talking about how to ground and do you want to share a little bit about that conversation? Do you remember it?
Yeah. I was laughing because all what I'm sharing in the workshop is exactly what you said.
Yes. Awesome. And you know what, like, how cool is that, right? That you have like an energy body worker, therapist, and then a food alchemist saying exactly the same thing, but just in a different language. And that's how cool we are, because different people will resonate with food, and different people will resonate with you, Judith, and different people will resonate with me, Mish. And that's how clever I think the real intelligence of the universe is. And this is what you said, babe. You can't get away from the water. It's everywhere, and it's just going to infiltrate, right?
And basically, sorry about that, but basically, water is life. It was Erika said. It's like what I got from you, Erika, now, and probably I will share it also in my workshop if with your permission. Is that actually we cannot create a very strong electromagnetic field if we are dehydrated. We really need to drink water. We really need to work on our water to really raise our frequency, as Mish was saying. So then we can actually activate and be like the trees. The trees carries, that's why I'm sharing in my workshop. We have to become the trees, because the trees carries a very strong energetic field. We can go there. We are like the parasites, energetic parasites for them, taking all this energy, and they will not get tired. We really need to become like them. But obviously, they are taking water. They are hydrated. Otherwise, they die. So we have to become trees, basically.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And the water is super important.
Yeah. And so I think just in closing, I'd love to hear the two of you, and I'll share my thoughts as well. But why is it so important to raise vibration right now? Like, because we've been, jabbing on about vibration and frequency the whole time. Some people who listen to this, they might think, but why? Why is that relevant?
I can go if you want. for my perspective, is that, and what I know also I got this information from Matthias, is that like the galactic wait. Basically, yes. I need to remember the words. Sometimes the words are like going. But no, like our solar system, yes, has a day and night also. So it goes, is the day of the galaxy, actually, is the galaxy. I was right at the beginning. Is the day of the galaxy and the night of the galaxy. 12,500 years ago, when in that life that I remember, we were entering into a night of the galaxy, which the Earth was going to sleep. What it means this is that lower the frequency. In that moment, we already knew that the work that we did in the electromagnetic, in the light grids of the planet now, it had to be done. So we were trying to do it, but we were not successful because the Earth was already vibrating too low. So we couldn't raise the frequency that we needed to do it now. So we decide in a soul level that we will come back 12,000 years, 12,500 years after, which is starting the day of the galaxy. Right now is starting the day of the galaxy, and it's the mirror time. So we can actually tap into here, and now the Earth frequency is rising up. So now is the time that we could actually do it with the right frequency. And why is important for now to rise up our frequency is because if we need to match the frequency of the Earth. Otherwise, we will be kind of like having triggers, let's say. Yes, the one who is not tapping into the frequency of the Earth is going to have a hard time. So it's important for that, and it's important for the whole humanity to be able, like if I raise my frequency, I will raise the frequency of the rest that are in my room, and maybe my neighbors, and maybe this, and it can expand. So that's why it's so important right now to raise up our own frequency, but focusing on us. It's like, I raise my frequency, and that's how I'm going to help others to raise up their own frequency. So
Beautiful. Thank you, Judith. Amor.
Yes, well, I think that has been already well said.
Yeah.
Another image that came to me meanwhile Judith was speaking. It's very funny because she's speaking. I saw.
You guys do that. I was like, hey, wait a minute. You two are like,
yeah, we are it's good. A lot of when we are in channel, that's what happened. You just plug into source, and sometimes you don't understand anymore where you finish and when somebody else starts, and so because again the same, when you tap into the same drop, then you have access of all the infinite memory that is everywhere. So that's why it happened in a very nice way, less mind and more unity, and then you feel it. But going back to why it's important raising, starting from what exactly Judith said, and just giving a metaphor, an image, it's important to stay with the vibration of the planet. It's like starting from the feeling that each human being that is now trying to illuminate like this, so finding a little bit of more way, finding more light, going in that movement of expansion that is actually happening, because the light of the galaxy is just an expansion of light, is something that is, instead of contracting, is expanding, is in the breath, like that's due to the duality of our existence, of this reality that is creating this dual dance, so night and day, in inspiration and expiration. So everyone is now having the feeling, who is still not plugged in, let's say, or is struggling to, it's feeling this feeling of disconnection, of loneliness, of being lost, not find the way, not feeling that he's losing connection with family, with friends, with and that's exactly at a personal source, because then someone can say, yeah, but if I don't want to raise with the planet, what brings to me? That's what brings to you, is being in the frequency that is your own frequency, recognize it, tap into it, take the train, and then you are in a sort of opera group. You are with different musicians, and what happened that if you are tuned on the same tonality, you can actually play, have fun. That's something that if you are a musician, or if you are a chef, or if you are an artist, or if you are, but you didn't discover it yet because you are maybe sitting in front of a computer to answer email that you really don't give a shit of what are from, but this is your job and this is what brings you money, but doesn't bring you joy, then that's the moment where you have for yourself to raise that frequency, to start to take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, to plug into that vibration that is allowing you to have fun with the rest of the group, the community, the family, to start to have a jam session with life. Because if you are at the same vibration of what surrounds you, you can have that luxurious feeling of the being presence of yourself. And that moment is the meaning of life. Is the goal of life. That being in the present moment, and that's infinite. That's a good stuff. It's not a pension that arrives after 60 years of work. It's not a car that will have a lot of maintenance and money, and once it's broken, it's broken. That present moment is the access to the infinite life. That's the secret of life, actually. That's the sacro graal. That's the recipe for the infinite life. It's not a medicine to stretch 2-3 years more of life, but it's having the freedom to access that infinite life in each second. It's not even a second, it's just a constant slide, slow motion of present life. That's why you can choose to raise your vibration, to have the luxurious experience of eternity in the present moment, by allowing yourself to be who you are.
Beautiful. And I think just allowing, you can just feel that, what you both said, it's like, and I think just in empathy as well, because there might be people there that are going, yes, I'm having a hard time. Like, what the hell, man? Why am I crying one day and then I'm confused the next, and then I'm like super joyous, or I'm feeling lost, or whatever it is. Like, I think there's a lot of I have a lot of compassion for folks who haven't really found this path as such, and there's no a path. It's there for you to claim. It's because it's actually inside. And I think for me, why it's so important to raise vibration, as I think the way you two put that was absolute poetry, really. But the reason I'm adding the compassionate element here is because, hello, Kitty, sweetheart. I think, in honesty, it's been hard to at times to tap into that jam session, because the veil has been so heavy and so thick, and we have been programmed so deeply, and this third dimension has been the dimension of the mind, like, you must do this, or whatever it is. My love, you said, the whole pension story. There's nothing wrong with the pension, but it's not the only way. And we've been programmed to look and to look and to look, and we found ourselves in this deep darkness, and we're like, whoa, this is not a jam. And I can hear music way down there, and I'm like, And so what I'm noticing now is there's people like us who are stepping out saying, hey guys, look around. And then I think also acknowledging that the energies now have really shifted. And I think what's interesting to acknowledge is, with the light coming onto the planet and the frequency raising, that's a given. And as Judith mentioned right at the beginning, we're bringing sky into ground. This time that we're in now, it's unprecedented. No one in the history, not one soul in the history of any civilizational history has lived in this very time with these very energies. Now, I know that's obvious, but the veil on Earth has generally always been here, but now it's lifted. And what that means, and where I'm kind of had this information from, which I'm loving at the moment, is the channelings from Adamus Saint Germain, is them sharing about how gravity's actually lifted, because from a planetary perspective, and remember, everything's connected, from the water molecule that came off planets to hit Earth and then kind of share itself across Earth. But with the planets moving into different positions, that's causing a lot of shift energetically, and gravity is now actually expanding. And one of the such a beautiful thing that I heard Adama say the other day was they were saying, yes, there's a lot of light coming onto the planet, and that means with more light, right, we've had a candle for the last 12,000 years, right? Can't see much, it's pretty dark. But all of a sudden, the light comes in, and it's more and more. It's like, whoa, this vibration's raising. And I was always often talking about how difficult it is to then turn around and see, and you're like, wow, I've been sitting in a bit of a shit pit, like I've got so much muck around me. And that's what you were talking about, the triggers coming out, Judith, this is really hard. What's really exciting now is that more recently, in the last couple of weeks, we can now also tap into, that's what you were saying, my love, the infinite potential. Because as the gravity lifts, our thoughts expand. And imagine what world we can create if we didn't have the past untruth that was always pushing us into this focus of I'm not good enough, essentially. So now all of that's disappearing. The gravity of those thoughts can no longer be in our minds or in our bodies. Now that's lifted. Imagine what we're going to be receiving now. And that, for me, is why it's so important to raise the vibration. Number one, to stay here and enjoy the ride, because it's going to be unbelievable, and to be part of this, because my sense is that there are millions of souls that are dying to get on this planet and go, I want to have a go, I want to ride, like, and that is really spectacular. So I wanted to invite you guys to say one last thing. I think this has been an awesome conversation, and like, I love you guys so much. Like, so cool what we're doing, all of us. I want to acknowledge that. I think it's amazing.
I would like to say something that it came like twice now, and I keep forgetting. Is it's actually to use the water as a tool also to heal yourself. Which, if we know that actually putting like love or putting an intention in the water can heal you, you can also put intention of heal a sickness, or heal the way you think, the way you feel. Like, experiment with water, no? It's like not only stay on the box of like, okay, I'm going to put love, or I'm going to put the flower of life, which already is a lot and give you a lot, and it purifies you. But also you can put the intention on like, okay, I want to create more health, or like I want to heal something that it's there. So use the water as a tool to give you the information that your body needs at that moment.
Yeah.
That.
No, and thank you for sharing that. We actually, a friend of ours, Syria, she's a homeopath. She's also done amazing Sufi training, wonderful being. And we kind of did a session together, and she said to me, Mish, I don't have this homeopathic remedy, but just take a glass of water, write down the chemical compound on the water, put it on top of that, and just sip that for the next 7 days. And it's exactly the same thing. It's the frequency, it's the intention, and it's kind of pushing that. And I think that's what you're saying, right? And that was interesting. It was it's the same premise. But that's just another beautiful way of just taking the learnings and expanding. And as we go on, it's going to be super cool. Awesome. So, Judith, do you want to just quickly close off by, you mentioned you had a workshop I know it's the back end of April. Do you want to maybe just share a little bit about what you're doing there briefly? I know you kind of mentioned a little bit, but just for folks who might be interested.
Yeah, thank you, Mish. It's going to happen on the 29th and 30th of April in Mallorca. And the focus about this workshop, well, it's called the extension of the hands extension of the heart, which is pretty obvious. And it's because I'm sharing my gift of seeing through my hands, but that it's not that we're going to work on that specifically. What I'm going to help people is to really find their essence. So my essence was to see from my hand, but we're going to be able to awaken the extrasensorial senses if it's needed, um, throughout a process of like reconnecting with you, being grounded, inhabiting the body, being really present at the same time that you're working on the core, you're becoming a tree, as Erika was saying. You're becoming the tree. You can actually, as much roots you have, you can actually have a much more strong core, which is, I call it the central channel. We're going to align the chakras, or at least it's like helping people to take the tools to be able to align their chakras and to work on this central channel to become the tree. As in the moment that you have a very strong central channel, you can actually open up and give your gift, that is the fruits, and expand into whatever you are. At the same time, that the tree, if you see it, is like goes like this with the branches, and then the roots goes like this, so it creates a torus. It's actually creating the very strong energetic field throughout practices, to be able to create a safe container by yourself, to be able to express who you are here and now, connecting more with your essence, but not leaving the human, not leaving your body. It's like fully connected to the earth, receiving the earth energy, but receiving your cosmic information also, and express who you are here and now. And in that moment is when you can actually tap into awaken the extrasensorial senses. So that's the purpose. It's like it's an empowering workshop. It's like giving you tools to feel much better about yourself, and to get you to know better yourself, and also to be able to actually awaken some subtleties. And yeah.
Which are all coming online, and that's beautiful, nice. And
Yeah.
so, where's the best place to find out? Is there a website, or are you on Instagram? What's YouTube channel? I don't know. What's the jam?
Yeah, in Instagram, I have the post, and the link is in the bio. So you can go into the link and it will send you to the PDF with all the information. And the PDF has reserved now, and then it sends you to the page where you can get the tickets. And throughout Instagram, they can ask me any questions also.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. What is your name or your handle on Instagram? How can people?
Judit, lower,
Underscore? Yeah, underscore.
what's called this? I don't know in English.
In
Like
English,
Judith Yague.
underscore,
On the school is called. Ah,
underscore. Yeah, like you score a goal. It's the underscore.
okay.
I don't know where it comes from.
You will pass it writing kids. Write me this, because yeah. Otherwise it doesn't stay. In 2 minutes I will not remember that word.
So Judith underscore, what's the next part?
Yague is my
Yahweh.
surname
Okay,
with
cool.
Y. Yeah, Yague.
Awesome. All right, we'll put it, I'll put a little thing on the video, no worries. And
Thank you, Miss.
thank you so much. And Amore, do you want to share a little bit about the upcoming double detox container that we have on the 13th of April?
Yes, so I'm actually very excited to start to detox, because the visit in Italy is always very nice. But then I really love to detox the body, but not only. I'm feeling more and more that this container that we create, it's a very useful tool to have that quantic leap, that all the space to have that conscious expansion, to allow yourself to be a little bit more coherent with who you are. That means more joy, more happy, more connection with yourself. There will be. That's something to say. When you detoxify, you have to let go of the toxin. I always say when people are going to detox, that can be from your back hole, or can be from your lymph nodes. You can sweat and it change the smell, or so, and also can be through your energy. You get a wave of anger one day and you don't know. So that's the meaning of detox, taking out from the body something that you don't need, and not only from the body but also from your soul, also from your memory, also from. So that's what we are allowing, because then that corner of water to clean, because then you have more space to allow what is supposed to come in for you. So whatever it is. So I think that is such a good toy, a good technology that we put together. Yeah, I'm very happy that we can offer that in a joyful way. We can do it ourselves, but also share it with more and more friends, soul, and brother and sister of this planet, to then have a jam session that is global.
Yes, let's go have a jam session. Everyone bring your tunes and your instruments. Yeah, and I think just from my side, like Double Detox has been such a journey to go through to create all the videos. I think we have something like close to 40 videos as part of the program. We have 17 power half-hour calls plus 8 live calls. So there's a ton of value there. 25 calls in total, plus close to 40 videos. And so it's a real safe container for doing something that's, like Erika says, going to kind of take you to certainly another level from where anyone is at. It does that for us all the time. And it's certainly, what a privilege to be doing this I wouldn't even say work. It's like it's an amazing kind of joy to be doing this, albeit tough stuff. It's quite fun, and as we start to raise the vibration, as we start to let that density go, we can all start jamming together. So with that, ladies, I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We should definitely do this again sometime, and because there was no scripting, there was a kind of a brief conversation before going, oh, I might say this, I might say that, let's see what happens. But I think, did an amazing job. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your wisdom and your beauty. And I look forward to the jam session.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, Erika.
Thank you, ladies.